Welcome back, Seb here. Today we are gonna rank the band The Cure. And first I wanna show a couple of ones that won't be included in the ranking. Boys Don't Cry, the American version of Three Imaginary Boys. There's a couple of differences, some single songs on this, not on Three Imaginary Boys. I won't be including Staring at the Sea, their first best of. This includes songs from their debut up until Head on the Door. And this is a great introduction to The Cure if you don't know The Cure, but surely you know The Cure. I won't be including their second best of called Galore, which is the Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me to Wild Mood Swings. I won't be including Greatest Hits, nor will I be including the bonus disc Acoustic Hits, which is great fun if you are a Cure fan. Then it is a must-have, in my opinion. I think even Acoustic Hits were a separate vinyl release. I won't be including any live albums. This is Concert Cure Live from 1984. This is a great live album. I wish they someday will release the entire concert. Cure Paris, Live 93. Cure Show, Live 92, 93. There's a funny looking bootleg. Transmission Impossible. With the concert from 81 on disc 1, disc 2, an excellent concert from 84, and disc 3 is from 1996. The only cool thing about the sound quality is good, and the cool thing about it is every picture have, you know, from the various period. Sound quality is very decent on this one. Of course I won't be including the DVD Greatest Hits. I won't be including Festival. This is a great DVD. And I know I missed a couple of DVDs. I won't be including the box set Join the Dots, which is B-Sides and Rarities, 1978 to 2001. This is a great box set. I think it's pretty cheap too. All of disc 1, all of disc 2, all of disc 3 is amazing. Disc 4 have also some very interesting stuff on it. But let's start the ranking. My bottom goes to Bloodflowers. And trust me, I've tried since they released this album. Really try. I really want to like this album, and yes, there are a couple of interesting things on it. Awful cover. It opens up with Out of This World, which is okay. Then we get 12 minutes of Watching Me Fall, which nothing sticks on that tune. Most of this album, there is really nothing that sticks after you listen through it. So that's my main problem with this. Then we get sung Where the Birds Always Sing. It's okay. Maybe someday. Probably the closest to familiar happy Cure pop hit. Then we get The Last Day of Summer. That tune is okay. There Is No If. It's also okay. The Loudest Sound, it is okay. 39, another endless song, and it ends with the title cut Bloodflowers, which again is an endless 8-minute going nowhere. So yes, my main problem with Bloodflowers is most of it goes nowhere. You feel like you've heard it before. It's like Cure by numbers. And I know many Cure fans consider this to be one of their crowning achievements, which I find rather strange. We're moving on. Second worst is 413 Dream. This is their latest album, released in 2008. And yes, I want to have the new the new Cure album. Hopefully they'll release it this year, next year, who knows. I even got a tour t-shirt and everything, and I've heard 5 of the new songs, which sounds promising. The reason I play this album as my second worst is probably because Cure have released so many great albums. Well, highlights for me on this is Underneath the Stars, The Real Snow White, maybe, Sleep When I'm Dead, and there is another cool, maybe it is The Scream. I need to re-listen, but there are also some horrible songs on this album: Freak Show, The Hungry Ghost, The Perfect Boy. It's like the Cure are trying to do a compromise on this album. Half of it is pop Cure, and the rest of it is more goth Cure, experimental Cure. So overall, not a bad album, but I would never recommend anyone to start with this album. Third worst, of course, it's Wild Mood Swings. And this could have been an almost better album than Wish, the album before this. Just almost. Because if I consider the B-sides, if I take all the B-sides and put into this album and remove Club America, The 13th, Strange Attraction, and a couple of others, it would have been an excellent album. But sadly, the ones I mentioned are truly awful. Club America is, what the hell are you thinking, Robert? But of course, they were under pressure, I would assume, to do more commercial music, not commercial music, but more commercial, commercial, more hit-based songs. But we got the excellent opener Want, which is a masterpiece of a song. We got Jupiter Crash, which is a beautiful ballad. We got Round and Round and Round, which is a fun, short pop song. And I'm not sure about the last songs. They're Numb, Return, Trap, Treasure, and Bear. I think Bear is a really great song, and I believe it's Trap, but it could be Numb or Return or Treasure. Probably not Treasure, but I'm not sure. I would not recommend anyone to start with Wild Mood Swings. Again, an album where they try to compromise, just like the 413 Dream. Next up, yes, I'm including this because there are re-recorded versions, some remixes, and there are, well, on this deluxe there are 2 new songs, Never Enough and Harold and Joe. And this is the deluxe edition, so you also get 2 extra CDs. But I'm not ranking it for the bonus material, even if this 3rd CD is interesting. This is re-recorded. It says just mix on every song, like Three Imaginary Boys, Help Me Mix 218, and A Night Like This, Hello Goodbye Mix 218. This is re-recorded versions done by Robert Smith and Simon Gallup. But yes, I include Mixed Up because it got Never Enough, it got Harold and Joe as a B-side, 2 new songs. Some of these are remixes, and some of them are awful. Some of them are re-recordings, like I think The Walk, and also I believe Caterpillar, and definitely A Forest is a re-recording. And it's like it's a mishmash of great stuff and not so great stuff. In a way, it works like a best of The Cure, because the songs are Lullaby, Close to Me, Fascination Street, The Walk, Love Song, A Forest, Pictures of You, Hot Hot Hot. I hate that tune. The Caterpillar, In Between Days, and Never Enough. But yes, what more to say about this? If you're a Cure fan, you want to have it, of course. We're moving on. There's quite a lot of albums. And yes, The Cure, The Cure. This was at the very bottom for many, 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 many years. But I recently re-listened to Bloodflowers, The Cure, and 413 Dream, and I realized this is a great album. The only big problem, in my opinion, is the way they mixed this album. I believe they used a guy who works for Limp Bizkit, and on this album, Robert Smith is really having difficulties, finding himself, rediscovering what makes The Cure great, what is a great Cure song. And most of this album is quite dark. Songs worth mentioning here, well, I enjoy all of them. I'm not too keen on the opening song Lost, because it's kind of ugly in a confusing way. I'm not quite sure how to express myself with that tune, but there's some excellent material like The End of the World, Alt End, Taken Off is very decent, The Promise is great, Going Nowhere, well, it's a song that goes nowhere, but this time it works, opposed to the Bloodflower album. But after re-listening a couple of times to this album, it is no longer at the very bottom. So if you're like me, I'd urge you to play it again. Yeah, simply play it again. Next up, it is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And half of this album is brilliant, and the other half not so brilliant. So let's focus on the great stuff. The Kiss, superb song. Catch is a good pop song. Torture, great tune. If Only Tonight We Could Sleep, it's great. Maybe a little long-winded in a way. Then we get Why Can't I Be You, which I can't stand. I just can't fucking stand that tune. The horns and the trumpets and everything, it's terrible. Enough about that fucking stupid song. Then we get How Beautiful You Are. It's a fantastic song. The Snake Pit, one of my all-time favorites from this album. Hey You, this is the 1-minute version, and it's kind of pointless. But they did record a version that lasts like 3 or 4 minutes, and I quite enjoy that tune. Next up is Just Like Heaven. Well, it is the perfect pop song and everything, but I never need to hear it again. Then we get All I Want, which is it's okay. Then we get two of the worst songs ever from The Cure, Hot, Hot, Hot. She wanted to feel, ah! And One More Time. I just can't stand these two songs. They are awful. But they save the entire boogaloo with like Cook the Coos and Icing Sugar. Whoa. The Perfect Girl. Wow. Then a ballad, 1,000 Hours. Not that great, but okay. Shiver and Shake. Superb. Fight, also superb. So yes, 4 or 5 songs from this double album, which I just can't stand. So really, if I could have added a Japanese Dream, which was a B-side to one of these, if I could have, added a couple of B-sides, removed a couple of songs from the main album, this would rank very much higher. Very much higher. I'm not sure you can say that. It would rank higher. It is a good album, and I could have recommended it. I decided to include Japanese Whisper, even if it's like the singles from November 82 to November 83. They released like to 7 inches and a 12-inch EP, then compiled it into, well, this is also an EP. It's like 26 minutes or so. But a little backstory. Robert Smith fired Simon Gallup. So on this album, The Cure basically were just Lol Tolhurst and Robert Smith. But they hired, let's see here. They hired, Steve Golding is playing drums on Let's Go to Bed and Just One Kiss. And on The Love Cats and Speak My Language, they draw in Phil Tonelli and Andy Anderson, which both plays on the album after this, The Top, and also Concert Cure Live. The songs Let's Go to Bed, I have always loved it. I even love that stupid remix. Just One Kiss is a masterpiece. The Walk, the song itself is great, but I can't stand the main synth sound that goes through the entire fucking song. Some versions live, they perform this superb, and you don't get that 1982-3 synth sound on it, but the song itself is good, and song and lyric is good. Upstairs Room, fantastic tune. The Dream, also fantastic tune. Lament, the tune I would recommend from this album. Love Cats, it's a great tune, but I don't need to hear it again. And Speak My Language, also a great tune. The last 2 songs are really jazz flavored. This is not the sequenced album. I just went by the singles, because Let's Go to Bed and Just One Kiss was the first single, and The Walk EP, and then the Love Cats single. And the funny thing is, they didn't bother to include Mr. Pink Eye, which was on one of these singles, and that's a great tune. But then you go to, I showed it earlier, Join the Dots, and I can't praise this enough. It's a fantastic collection. But this movie is starting to getting long, so we're moving on. Next up, it is their debut album. Me and my friend always call this album Fridge. And I had a theory here the other day where we discussed this album, because he loves Cure more than I do. And I told him, don't you think there's a combination about the title, 3 Imaginary Boys, and the 3 objects on the cover, also the song Object, blah blah blah. And we talked about it for maybe half an hour, but we couldn't really find any answers. I remember buying this on vinyl and there were no titles. The titles were just these stupid images. I'm not sure they added it in this double CD edition. No, they didn't. But the great thing with all of these 2 discs are you get studio demos, you get some live versions, you get some home demos, you get a couple of extra album tracks, World War, Boys Don't Cry, Jump at Someone Else's Train, the stuff that ended up on Boys Don't Cry, the compilation. But the album itself, 10:15 Saturday Night, masterpiece. Accuracy, it's okay, it's great. Grinding Halt, maybe a little low point. Another Day, I love that tune. Object, love it. Subway Song, meh. Foxy Lady, I actually enjoy this version. It's a really fun and original rethinking of the Jimi Hendrix song. Me Took, it's an alright song. So What, it's great. Fire in Cairo, it's great. It's Not You, it's a great song. And the ending, Three Imaginary Boys, also fantastic song. So you probably noticed we're in the recommended stuff by now. Next up, what could it be? The Head on the Door. The Cure finally becomes a good commercial band. Well, they were probably commercial before this, but now the entire world got their eyes and ears fixated on this band. I believe this is the album that made them in America, with songs like In Between Days, Close to Me, Night Like This. And also there are great songs like Kyoto Song, The Blood, 6 Different Ways, Push, The Baby Screams, Screw and Sinking. And there is one thing only on this original album that I don't like. One single thing. Can you guess it? It's one of the instruments on the brilliant song Night Like This. Yes, it's the saxophone solo on A Night Like This. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I've made my own private edit of this tune where I don't have to hear the fucking saxophone. It's like Kenny G is dropping by, you know? And nothing bad about Kenny G, but it just don't work. Not for me. But besides this solo, the album is a masterpiece. It's no doubt it's a masterpiece. It's a 9 out of 10, and if I remove the god-awful sax solo, it's a 10 out of 10. And we're in the 10 out of 10. All of these, let's see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth best Cure album is of course Cure Wish from 1992. What can I say? I love everything on this album, but there are a couple of things that are not below par, but songs like Wendy Time, Doing the Unstuck, Friday I'm in Love, Trust, those songs, they don't do it for me. But the rest of the songs make up for everything, you know? And the B-sides and these home demos, everything. Even if I'm not too keen on Wendy Time, especially Wendy Time and Friday I'm in Love and Trust. Well, maybe Friday I'm in Love and Trust. It all makes sense because this is most of this is a really it's a superb album. It is a 10 out of 10. But most of this album is really raw and rough. So maybe songs like Trust and songs like Friday I'm in Love is needed on this album. Or maybe I just played it too many times. That might also be the case. We're in the top 5. My top five is The Top, a highly underrated Cure album. Many people place this, very low, and I don't get it. I love the entire album. Shake Dog Shake, Bird Mad Girl, Wailing Wall, wow. Give Me It, Dressing Up, Caterpillar, Piggy in the Mirror, The Empty World, and then the weird as fuck Banana Fish Bones, and the weird as fuck The Top. Phew, it's a masterpiece. The music here, it all ranged from psychedelic pop to nearly hard rock in a way, to flamenco based stuff, to avant-garde weirdness. My favorite songs on this, hard to say, but The Empty World, The Top, Dressing Up, Bird Mad Girl, Wailing Wall, Shake Dog Shake. I love everything. 10 out of 10. Fourth place, it is Pornography. Great cover art. And this is, in a way, their third in their Doom trilogy. Don't believe what they say about the trilogy, which they now mean comprises Pornography, Disintegration, and Bloodflowers. That's bullshit. The trilogy is 17 Seconds, Faith, and Pornography. We all know that. 10 out of 10. 100 Years, alright, it is a little, not psychotic, but a little, if you know the song, I hope you laugh with me, because it's a very intense and very, it's not scary, but it's manic. Manic, that's the word. Truly manic song, but great. Sometimes I tend to just skip the first song, 100 Years, and go straight into a short-term effect, which is weird as fuck, and it's great. We get the fantastic Hanging Garden, which is maybe the Cure at their best. Next up is Siamese Twins. Mwah, I love it. The Figurehead, wow. And then A Strange Day. The vibe on A Strange Day, you just can't recreate that sort of vibe. And again, the last two songs are weird as hell. Cold and the title track Pornography, they are weird as fuck. Tons of avant-garde, the weirdness, lyrics are fucked up, and of course it is an acquired taste, and I must admit I've been a Cure fan for, well, since Wish came out, so you do the math. And back then, this was in my top 10 or 5. I liked some of it. Well, I liked the Hanging Garden, and I liked Siamese Twins, but the rest was way too weird for me. But I was a very young, not man, and barely a boy back then. But it's a 10 out of 10. We're in the top 3. And of course, it's Disintegration. And no matter how many times I've heard it, no matter how sick and tired I am of certain songs from this album, it's still, it is my top 3 Cure album ever. And it will probably always stay in my top 5. Plain Song, oh my god, what a great opener. Pictures of You, Close Down, that's an underrated song, I love that song. Love Song, Last Dance, underrated as hell. Lullaby, Fascination Street, Praise for Rain, Same Deep Water as You, the title cut Disintegration, and the two beautiful ending songs Homesick and Untitled. Oh god, I love this album. And of course, again, it is the deluxe edition, which I strongly urge you all to check out. This features on disc 3 of 3 the complete and treat concerts, but there's some weirdness on the snare drum. Take a listen and compare the Entreat Plus with Entreat. Robert Smith has gone crazy mixing the snare drum. What I mean by this is we know the sound of The Cure from the 80s. We know how the snare drum is supposed to sound. And when I put on this remixed Entreat, it was, there's something wrong with this mix. What is it? And I listened. I couldn't figure it out. I played it again, and of course, there's something with the drums that's not right. You know, the snare drum, it doesn't sound like the snare drum sound of the 80s by The Cure. Second place, it is 17 Seconds, their second album. What to say about this masterpiece, besides I love everything on it. A reflection. This opener could have lasted, you know, for me, just like we'll come to that very soon, but it could have lasted like 10 minutes, no problem. Then we jump into the fun, Play for the Day, Secrets in Your House, 3, all great songs. And then we get The Final Sound, and this was in fact a much longer song, but when they were recording it, the tape just ran out. That's the story anyway. And there's a weird ending to this Final Sound before we get into A Forest, which of course is a masterpiece. And we get M, great pop song. At Night, maybe my favorite on this album. This is like A Forest part 2 in a way, just a little darker maybe. And it ends with the highly depressing 17 Seconds. 10 out of 10. Number 1. What could it be? What could it be? It's the highly underrated Faith, their third official studio album. And the music is just like the cover. It's grey, it's depressing, it's everything I love from this band. And if you don't know it, I highly urge you to take a listen to it as soon as possible. Holy Hour, oh my god. What an opening song. Then we get the only more rock-based song on this album, maybe, Primary, which consists of 2 basses and 1 drum set and 1 vocal. There are no guitars on this song. Other voices, oh my god, I love this song. All Cats Are Grey, I love it. The Funeral Party, that's the best song where the synthesizer is the main focus I've ever heard. Doubt, okay, Doubt is a rocker too, a great rocker. The Drowning Man, I love it, I really do. And the ending song Faith is really depressing, but it's oh so beautiful. And I'll also mention the track Carnage Visuals, which was a soundtrack to a movie done by Simon Gallup, the bass player. And this tune goes on forever. And I love it. It's like 30 minutes, and if I'm having insomnia and can't sleep, and I put on Tangerine Dream and it doesn't work, well, Carnage Visuals never fails. My number 1 fall asleep to song. But of course, it was included only on the cassette version of Faith, not on the vinyl edition, but thankfully they restored it on this deluxe 2-disc edition. And yes, I said it earlier, but these deluxe editions are either 2 or 3 disc sets. And if you're a fan, I strongly urge you to check them out. And fun fact, none of the B-sides from Join the Dots are featured on the bonus discs. So you need Join the Dots too, in my opinion. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm sorry it was so long, but and I'm sorry I didn't give you more information about the cure. I could have done it. I made Where's the Best Cure video earlier, a month or 2 ago, and that one lasted 1.5 hours, and I hadn't even come to my top 5, so I figured, okay, I'll do this one quick. I'm not sure it was quick enough, but let's just do a really quick recap. You need Join the Dots. Of course, it's not in the ranking. My number 1 place goes to Faith. Second best cure, 17 seconds. Third best cure, Disintegration. Fourth best cure album, in my opinion, Pornography. Fifth best cure, The Top. Sixth best cure, Wish. Seventh place, Head on the Door. Yes, I know this cover isn't the original cover. And I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eighth place, their debut, Three Imaginary Boys. And all of these I would strongly recommend. Then, of course, Japanese Whispers. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. The Cure, The Cure. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I think I placed them mixed up after that. Then Wild Mood Swings. Then 413 Dream. And at the bottom, sadly, Bloodflowers. I hope you enjoyed my ranking. Until next time, Seb's out of here.